Hey, Omar with Chicago Cycle Network. And as usual, I just bring some amazing people, even if you don't think they're amazing, but there are some amazing people in Chicago. She's one of them. I've ridden with her. She's like super strong. She has many fans who see her on Strava. I've many people who have asked me, "Oh, you ride with this person?" I'm like, "Yeah, I ride with her." They're like, "Oh my God, she should be racing because she's so strong. She's all doing these long rides and all the miles she ride a year." And I mean, it's just ridiculous. Okay. But we're going to get to know her, who she is. She's in the network. She makes Chicago a beautiful place to be in, to ride in. And if you ever see her on the road, guys, don't be shy. That's if you can keep her wheel or something, because she's just like, she's next level. But again, thanks for everybody who has subscribed to the channel and let me spread the word, and people who have spoken to before and come on the channel and let people know, hey, this is what makes Chicago a very special place to bike in. And we're just gonna keep the pushing it and keep on learning about people in Chicago, because I think it's important that we can spread the word so we can inspire people, because we all have a very unique story that can be inspiring to many people at all different levels. Sometimes outside of cycling, because some of the cyclists here, they have like jobs outside of cycling, and you never know, you might help to motivate somebody to get to link somebody to their career or something. But this is the one of the point that I want to really bring out with this interviews with the different cyclists. So with no further ado, welcome and introduce yourself and let us get the ball rolling.
Okay, hi, I'm Ruth Gleicher, and I know Omar through cycling, as he said. I am 65 years old, the mother of 3 married children, and the grandmother of 8. So that's the meaning of the shirt. It says, "Some grandmas knit and real grandmas ride bicycles."
It should say fast for yours, to ride bicycles fast.
No, we don't have to be fast.
True.
But we get out there and I forgot who bought it for me, but it's a funny shirt and I thought it was apropos to wear it today. My kids live all over. So I have one here in Chicago, my son Josh, and he has 2 children. I have a son in Maryland and he has 3 children. And then I have a daughter in Jerusalem and she has 3 children. So I just retired this year. I was a high school biology teacher. And I'm spending a lot of time visiting, traveling, spending time with the grandkids, and bringing my bike now where I go. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's well deserved. A grandma of I called is it called like 9 or 10?
8.
8?
Yeah.
Grandma of 8, 65. I had no idea you were 65. I would say maybe like 45.
Yeah, of course.
so riding, I guess, keeps you young. But let's divert. I got to crack up that joke, okay? This is my dad joke moment. This is the only one today, okay? I know you're somewhat familiar with the Bible, so I'll ask you, what kind of person would Boaz be if he wasn't married? Boaz from the Bible.
I know who Boaz is. Married to Ruth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What would he be? I don't know.
It'd be ruthless.
Oh, ruthless, because married to Ruth.
That's it. No more. I promise you guys. No more. That's it. Yeah. So you talk about you have a daughter in Israel. Do you ever since you're retired now, or maybe before you get retired, do you ever get to go back to Israel and do rides and stuff there?
Yeah. So my funny story about her is that I moved a half a mile from her to be closer to my grandkids over here. And 6 months later, she literally woke up one morning and said, "I'm moving to Israel. Just going to try it for a year." I said, "Should I take it personally?" But no. So since then, I was still working, but I was able to bring a bike over there. And now I go for a month at a time, twice a year. And it's a whole different world of riding. It's the first time I brought my bike there, I had like a 28 on there. And the mechanic there goes, "This is Jerusalem. There's a lot of hills. You're not going to make it." And I literally did ride 3 times, the 4,000 feet of climbing. But after the 3rd ride, I went back to the shop. I said, "Yeah, I could use more." So, I love riding there.
So you got a 32 or something like that?
I got a 32.
Okay.
It could have been a 34, but it was really last minute. I do a fundraising ride for a children's hospital for children with disability. I did it for my first time last year. It's called the Olin Wheels of Love ride. You can look it up. It's just a great cause. And then we get 3 days of amazing cycling. Last year 4 days actually. Last year we were in the south, in the deserts, not a lot, but north of a lot, if you know Israel. And then this year we're supposed to go all the way north to the Golan Heights. So we'll see, which is, Israel's a very small country with amazing topography. So you just go like 10 miles and you're a whole different habitat.
Wow.
It's insane.
So what's the riding culture like there? I mean, I have no idea.
I'd say more off-roaders around Jerusalem because there's a tremendous amount of off-road options. I'm thinking of trying it, but I'm nervous about falling. I've been in many, many unfortunate, serious bike accidents, broken a lot of bones. So, my kids are always like holding their breath for that. My last one was actually last Memorial Day weekend. I went on a 100-mile ride and slipped on gravel and broke 3 pelvic bones. So, yeah.
And you're still here.
I never have gotten afraid. With all my really bad accidents, you would think I'd be afraid. And it's just never entered my mind. I'm just going to heal and get back on the bike. It's kind of, I was hit by a car going 50 miles an hour and I should not have survived it. It broke my leg in half. It broke my bike in half. And I got back on the bike.
You're still here, so you're here, so that's great. But I'm worried about the bike. That the bike broke. I'm so sad.
That bike broke. You sort of think that bikes don't heal. People do. I mean, I've learned that broken bones, I think, are better than tendons and ligaments that get damaged.
Right.
Because they really, really heal. It's just then your fear factor. Somehow.
And you keep on getting over those fears. So you still have no fear of getting over it. Because, I mean,
I've never
right.
had it.
Wow.
I should. Maybe that's part of my craziness. I've never, after every accident, it's never entered my head. Maybe. So I broke my leg 10 years ago in that get hit by a car in Las Vegas on Thanksgiving weekend with the family. And we were all going to go for a hike. But instead, I had to bike because the hike wouldn't be enough. So that kind of explains
with a broken...
No, this is before I got hit. And on the pre-hike bike ride, I got hit by a car. And ruined the hike, ruined the day, ruined Thanksgiving for everybody, and needed surgery, obviously, and was there a little longer. And then amazing rehab, and I came back about 9 months later onto the bike. And maybe 3 weeks after that, I was riding with Judson in those days, took a very sharp on that.
Wait. Let's stop. Guys, she just said she rode with Judson. So for people that are in Chicago that knows Judson, you say you rode at Judson.
Yeah, I rode with them all the time in those days.
Wow.
And then, so we were going, they were a little slower because I don't think their bikes were as good, or maybe so I don't think it's the Judson weekday of today, but they're still really fast. And we would take those, I call them the S curves up by Fort Sheridan.
Yeah, by the end of Fort Sheridan.
And going into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those and really fast. And I don't know how fast we were going because you're staying in line and not looking at your speed, but we always took them fast. And my front wheel flatted. And there's nothing you could do. You're going to go down on a turn when your front wheel.
Yeah, I think that happened to Steve a couple of years ago. Steve Hoffner.
Yeah.
I think in the S-curve, he got it blown in the front. And
then they were all so nice. Everybody stopped and they pulled my tire. And there was a big piece of glass in there. So it was clear how it happened. It was a fluke, but I had just recovered. And then I broke a pelvic bone in my shoulder.
Oh my God.
So you would think that would be the point where I would have given it up.
You're still here. You're still here. You're a survivor. You're an overcomer. I can tell that you probably have all these other qualities in your life and you apply it to cyclists. And you talk about teaching biology. I mean, you're working with kids that are kind of, what that is. And
it's the one thing I miss from retirement. I miss the kids. I don't miss any of the other stuff, but I love high school kids.
You're grandma of 8, so I can imagine.
I know eventually they'll get. But the ones you are related to, of course, you're going to love. You have to like teachers who don't love the age they're teaching shouldn't be in the classroom. You have to love kids of the age you're teaching because you're spending a lot of time with those kooks.
Yeah.
And they're kooks. That's what I love.
Because when I was in college, I volunteered at high school. And I saw this one kid in the class, and he's like, "Why are you not doing the work?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm the best basketball player in the school. I'm going to go to the NBA." I was like, "All right, this is not for me," because and he gave me this big attitude. I'm like, "Wow!" I'm like, "You know what? No, I think I'm maybe not going to do it anymore. Volunteer because I can't
handle that attitude.
Yeah. I'm trying to help the kid, help people in the class, and I was like, "No." So anyway, I ended up teaching college. When I was in grad school for 2 years. It's a little bit different, more mature. So it takes some really special type of people to do that stuff.
I loved it. It's one thing. If I could have stayed in teaching and controlled my schedule and not had to grade all the time, I would have stayed. But obviously.
So how long ago was retirement? I didn't know you retired.
This year is my first year.
Gotcha. Because I know the
She
last time we
retired in June.
spoke, the last time when you had your accident and went over to your house, you were talking about scheduling and different things. So this year, wow.
This year, in fact, I missed, because I broke those bones in May, I missed my last days in the classroom of my career because I was
Can you go
too
back
injured.
and just make it up?
No, funny, I'm going to be going back and mentoring a teacher, though. We have our first meeting Monday, so I'll be helping a little.
On the side. That's good. Keep it a little bit busy, because if I could be writing like 8 hours a day, and you know.
Yeah, I know. I have to watch that. I as you see, my typical morning is wake up at 4:30, ride with a group cortado, which is how I met Omar, and we do like, I don't know, it's maybe a 25-mile loop, and then we come back, and there's another group.
Then you come back.
Well, everybody comes back. Some of them, the cortado people, stop for coffee, and then I find a second group, my plaza friends, and then I ride that or longer. So I'm like 50 to 60 miles a day.
No, I think it's like 55 to 70 miles a day. Because normally it's like about 65. I've been stalking your Strava. An average day, my average mile is about 65.
Okay.
During the week.
Maybe.
On the weekend is more.
Once I get into, it's early season still, so I'm thinking like now. And when I was in Israel, it's like a whole different, it's not about how far you go, it's how far you're climbing.
Yes, I saw that.
That's like 3,000 to 4,000 feet of climbing I would do there.
So this explains why you're so strong on the bike, because to ride averaging 65 miles a day, that's a lot. And I know sometimes cortado they go kind of a little bit crazy. Maybe Plaza a little bit more mellow, but and you keep up, and that's amazing itself. But let's get back to the beginning.
Okay.
How long have you been riding for now?
So I was not athletic at all until I was 28, and I had a big medical, like I was pregnant and bleeding out from a bad pregnancy. Nobody still knows why, but literally dying at home till they finally took me in. And it was a traumatic miscarriage because they had to do a hysterectomy. So, 28 years old, I already had 3 kids, so I was lucky to have had that, but I still it was very hard for me to adjust. And I went into therapy and had a life-saving therapist, and she told me 2 things. You need to get a job and you need to get a hobby to find happiness based on everything else that was going on in my life. And so I always wanted to do research. My mom was a research PhD, and I thought I would follow her footsteps, but I needed a job quick. So I did a 1-year teaching program at Northwestern and randomly found like the greatest career for me, just because I was trying to go quick. And how can I use biology? Okay, I'll be a high school teacher. And it was meant to be. And then I started running. I don't know why. One of my friends goes, "Oh, maybe you should do triathlons." I had never done anything on the bike. I had never swum. I said, "Well, that sounds kind of cool. I'll try that." And I got into triathlons, and then that built. I had a World Sport 10 speed. That was my bike, Schwinn. I would go to races with serious people, and and I'm not exaggerating, I'd be the last or just third to last woman out of the water always in my age group. And then on my piece of crap bike, I would be in the top 10 of the women in my age group. And then when I ran, I was like middle of the road. And then even when I upgraded my bike, I wasn't that much bigger, like a Bianchi. I was always great at riding. This body was built for riding and not for the other 2 sports. And then my biology, like I had this aha moment this summer. My daughter got married when I didn't have time to race. And I suddenly found I don't really like racing because it's so much pressure, and I didn't like the stress of it. And I just didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking, like amphibians in life, these animals, they're not really good swimmers and they're not really good walkers because they're trying to do too many things. And what I really love is cycling. And then I shifted when I was 34 but before that I'd done marathons.
So like 31 years now you've been riding.
Yeah, it's only riding. I don't run anymore. I don't swim. And then it wasn't as crazy as it is now. I ride through trauma is what happens. And I was in a very, very abusive marriage, and the divorce was insane over 5 years. That's when the mileage kicked up. I think it's a mental, calmness to what all this stuff going on, kind of escape. And suddenly, like my first year when I go 10,000 miles, and that includes indoor, but I go, wow, that's a lot of miles. And then 11,000. Then 2 years ago, I think I did 13,000.
Yeah,
It's kind of crazy.
I saw.
But I was injured last year, so I only did 9.
That's still a lot. A lot of people don't do even 6,000 miles a year.
Yeah,
so that's still a lot.
I don't have a sense of distance anymore. That's for sure. What's 50 miles?
Yeah, when you're out there enjoying yourself, of course.
And I love it. Yeah.
So if you're not like, I think if you're not like racing and putting your body through this high stress and thing like to hit these numbers and stuff, you don't ride a bike, like all these numbers, it don't matter. Just out there doing your thing. Okay. I was talking about how I used to be a runner and I want to hit all these numbers. I used to race. If I didn't place my age group or win, I was all stressed out. I'm like, I don't make a living from this. So what's the point? So I'm like, start doing more, like more pacing races and it's having fun. And
it is fun.
Hang out with people and just do my own thing.
Like, that's why I like the Lynn ride that I did for the first time this year. I mean, you have to fundraise, which I still think is good because I believe in the cause. But it was a lot of fun in Israel. Nobody knew who I was or know I have any. And plus, it's all climbing. It was serious climbing, and I hadn't climbed at all.
But you're the perfect climbing buddy, though.
So I guess I do. And like day one of the ride, I'm like, there were 3 groups you could choose from. That's called Challenge. The Challenge group are the top. And when they described them, look, we know, like serious people who it's always fast. It's always, and I go, oh, I don't want to be. I'm doing this for fun. I'm going to go with the next group. And, so the middle group, and then there's I forgot what the middle group was called. But anyway, so there's a middle group, and then there's where most of the people ride. And then they have 3 off-road groups, or maybe even more. So they have a lot of options. And I just want to have fun. And my first day, like the guy who was a coach, like of the pros up there or something as a team, he like looked at me because we came up the first hill and I was like way ahead of everybody. And the leader of the thing goes, "Who are you?" And this guy, who was the leader of the middle group, the next day goes, "I looked you up on Strava." And now I know. When you put that, it's like I hadn't heard that. He goes, it doesn't matter that you don't climb. You put in so many miles,
of course,
that you have the strength.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, maybe that's how it's going." Okay.
You remember you did a ride also in Cuba last year.
And then I did a backroads ride in Cuba.
How was that? I mean, Cuba.
Fun. It was just fun. And thankfully I met a person who became a really good friend of mine because he does off-roading and I do not. Cuba roads are not, they're off-roading kind of. It's just gravel everywhere, potholes everywhere. And my stance was completely wrong and he kind of coached me on, you have to sit differently. Who knew? You probably did, but I don't do gravel or all that other stuff. So yeah, no, it was fun because it was Cuba. It was beautiful. There's no cars on the road, really. Even when we got on the highway, we were laughing.
You're on the highway.
We were on the highway at one point. The road was good. We didn't see one car. Just riding on the highway. And it wasn't a holiday. It was just nobody there. The poverty is overwhelming. And so you got to it's a cultural trip, too. It was a lot of fun. But if you're looking for a great ride, that's not where you want to go. But
not for a great ride, but maybe for a great experience.
That's what I'm looking for. That's what, that was like phase 1 of, I had to do that still during, actually it was winter break and there aren't too many groups that do group. So there's one that Backroads does in Santa Barbara. Most of these companies give their people off for Christmas, but I wanted to ride on Christmas. So Backroads has 2 options. Cuba is one of them and Santa Barbara is the other. I had already done Santa Barbara the year before.
They don't do Christmas with the kids, with the grandkids?
I don't celebrate Christmas.
Oh, I just learned that. I mean, I kind of, I just want to figure it out.
Yeah, no.
Not even does it say Christmaka?
No, because Hanukkah falls different times of year. So, and it's not such a big deal holiday in my family. Passover more, and now I just go to Israel for Passover because it's so nice there. And the early holiday, I try to move around to the kids, but
yeah. So you're born in Illinois, such Chicago.
Born in Chicago.
Never left?
Side.
Never left?
Never. I left for a year. I lived in Israel between high school and college, but no.
Where in Southside Chicago were you born? Or
Pill Hill, 1700, on 91st Place. I'm trying to remember. It's
what neighborhood? This is called
south of Pilsen. It was called Pill Hill.
Pill Hill.
And it was called that because all the doctors lived there. It was the fancy neighborhood. Seriously, that's.
So is there a Botox Hill down there too? Is there a Surgery Hill?
I don't know.
By that time, I was I probably even knew I was going to be born back then. So yeah.
You could look up Ernie Banks and you'll see, oh, he was a big deal.
Wow. Yeah. So how many bikes do you have now?
I don't have a lot of bikes. So I have one in Israel, my Serata, and then I have the Mosaic here. And I have one on my trainer.
Mm-hmm. So I know they have the blue one.
The blue is the
and
Mosaic.
the one
and
before
the red
that
and black one, the Serata that moved to Israel and lives
Mhm.
there now. Those are my main bikes. I have one on the trainer. And then I have a cross bike that I never use. It's really garbage. So
no bike is garbage. Don't hurt your bike's feeling.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very small, and my Serata and the Mosaic are custom.
So what size bikes are those?
They're custom.
So there's no size.
There's no size in custom.
So it could be a 58 then. Who knows?
It could be whatever. I mean, you'd have to talk to the guys who built them. Custom to me. So I'm very near. I mean, so I'm the princess. Like, I'm riding bikes, and then I ride them forever. My Serata is 28 years old, and I'm still riding it. So
it was a nice bike.
It's a great bike.
And when you got the blue one, I was like, that's a pretty nice bike too.
I mean, the Mosaic's great.
Yeah.
So that was my reward for getting divorced. Was buy yourself a new bike. And then I was able to move the Serata to Israel, which is great. So it just stays there.
So, what's the girl in our group that moved to Israel?
Anat. I keep up. Yeah. She's a kick-ass racer.
I know.
Like, yeah, she's winning everything over there.
So when you went back, did you get to meet her?
Yeah. This last time we rode together. The time before, we just met in Tel Aviv and had a great time.
Hi, Anat. Nice to see you. Nice to hear about you, that you're doing well.
She's amazing. Yeah.
No, she was like super strong, and she had like a really older bike, and she was just ripping it in the group and
everything. She's got a new bike, and she has a coach, and yeah, she knows watts now. She didn't know watts. She was just riding, and she did Kona. I mean, I don't know that she was really using numbers.
Because I think she had a track bike, because I've seen her with her mom a couple of times riding.
Yeah, I never met the mom.
She
lives in Israel.
Yeah, she came a few times. Well, no, she never came, but I saw them riding together a few times. She was on the track bike and her mom was on a road bike, and I was like, oh, look at that. That's so sweet. I
mean, their family's all athletic. In my family, I'm the mutant, so nobody's athletic. My brother was, and then he got Parkinson's. So
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so he was. I take it back, but
I think in my family, I'm probably the outlier for many, many, many different reasons. I'm the outlier in my family.
Me too. My cousins always say that. They go, "Are you sure you're?" My maiden name was Steinberg. Are you sure you're a Steinberg?
Yeah, I'm the first of so many things in my family, but it's because it's by default. Where I think at the tail end of my life in Jamaica is when my family got a little bit more money and more, exposed to things that my sisters didn't get exposed to, and I was exposed to it. And then I just worked really hard, and here I am after all these years. It's pretty crazy. Came from Jamaica, lived in Dallas for 9 years, lived in Miami for 9 years. I'm in Chicago for 7 years now, so maybe I got 2 more years.
We only have you 2 more years.
2 years now. I'm gone.
I hope not.
So hopefully that, hopefully. I like Chicago though. Good. And all of these places give me different view of life, and it was different stages.
100%. Yeah.
So it worked out really nice, and I mean, it's really awesome to get to meet you. So now are you converted to 28 millimeter tires now on your bike? Or
I have 30s.
You're in 30s now?
Yeah. No, the one in Israel has maybe 28s. I mean, look, we're talking about a bike that's 28 years old. So the fact that they could upgrade
to 28s, that's pretty impressive.
It might be 28s. I think maybe it's not.
Maybe 25, because back in the days it was all about tight spaces. And
I know.
So maybe going from from a 19 to a 25, that was a big thing.
I've had good mechanics who have been able to
tweak little things.
Tweak so much on that Serata, it's insane. But when I knew I was already going to need to get a new bike, and there was a problem with the hub, but they ended up fixing it. And I go to Velosmith with Tony, and he sits me down like there's a death in the family. He goes, "We have to talk." And I said, "What?" He goes, "It's about your bike." And I said, "What?" And he tells me there's this problem, and he doesn't know. He thinks we could fix it, but it's getting to the point where things won't be fixable. So I said, "Is it hospice or palliative care? Are we do I have to bury it, or can we take care of it and love it?" and it's doing great in Israel. So far, so
that's nice that you have a bike in Israel. Maybe one day I'll leave one of my bikes in Jamaica, so whenever I go there, I have a bike to ride.
It's such a nice.
But Jamaica is just the best time to ride in Jamaica, from my experience, being back and living there and everything, is on Sunday. Because on Sunday, nobody's on the road. Everybody stays in. Other day is just way too crazy. When I went here last year, I saw a bunch of people riding. It was on a Sunday. And it was like, they said there's no cars on the road on Sunday. Like everybody stays
nice.
in. Saturday, extra weekends, like cars, and just people drive crazy and just like ridiculously. So,
well, Israel has a 6-day work week. So Saturday is the only day off. And the religious people don't drive. So there's a lot of motorcycles on the roads I'm taking and a lot of cyclists.
A lot of drafting on motorcycles.
No, not up the mountains. No.
Yeah, so you basically started out, you went through a traumatic experience, you picked up triathlons, and then you're like, all right, I don't want to suck at 3 sports. I'm good at one, so I'll just stick to the one I'm good at. And here you are, 30, I said it was 30, 31 years later.
Yeah.
And you're still here. You've had some accidents and you're still motivated to come on the bike and just do your thing. So it must be like some fulfillment in that for you, right?
So much. It's social. And what I've loved about cycling is you always have to be thinking if you want to be good. You can't just drift your mind into la la land when you're riding with a group. You got to be watching. I was even talking, I know you interviewed Mark Winston with him today about, I just don't know why people who they join a group and the first time they're up in the front, like sit in the back and learn the group. Like,
it's just so crazy. You say that. That is my number one rule of biking. Yeah. Every time I go to a group for the first time, I go to the back and I watch to see how the group dynamic is. I was at Plaza for the first time and I stayed at the back and they still do a rotation pace line. So I thought when we hit Waukegan, it's going to be everybody in the pace line, but nobody told me it's going to be like about 12 people in the pace line, and not everybody else. So that wasn't I heard pace line, right? And I was, and I'm like, okay, waiting, and like go over. I'm like, what? These guys said pace line, but they didn't explain it clearly.
No, that pace line. Very
and I got yelled at, and then after that, I'm like, oh, so it's only like about 12 or so people, and the rest stay behind. I'm like,
you needed. I should have given you that.
No, that's fine. But anyway, as I tell people, the guys in Plaza were really good for a very, very long time. When I see things happen, I know just stay out of it and then, and then just watch because
say no more.
It goes up and it comes down. Everybody's happy again. Everybody's hugging and kissing, and I'm like, all right, this is the culture, and they're fantastic people.
Yeah.
And of course, Maury, you're gonna come here. Drew, Kathy, Jerry. Who else? What am I missing? All of them going to be us. I'm not going to say the names. Jeff,
Scotty,
of course. Jeff and Scotty, all these guys. I spoke to Jeff already. I'm still waiting for him to come around. And Scott, I'm waiting for Scott and a Scott because he's, so I'll call all those names. We're going to come on and talk about cycling because you guys are like true OGs to what Chicago's been through for quite some time now. So.
Definitely Drew, Jerry.
Oh yeah, Murray. For sure. And there's a guy from that lives in Arizona that comes out here so every now and then. Bruce, that's it. Bruce.
So he was relatively new to us. I haven't seen him in years. I don't know.
I think I saw him like 2 years ago.
Yeah, I don't think I saw him.
And for sure, I got to talk to
Hassan. But I was
Hassan.
also injured. So.
Yeah, Hassan is my G. So Hassan, he also checks up on me. He's like one of the happiest guy. Every time I see him, he's like, "Oh, I'm so happy to see you. You're a nice guy. You're like your family." I'm like, so Hassan, we're gonna sit down one of these days and talk. I've been to his apartment. So amazing. Overlooks the lake Michigan in downtown Evanston somewhere.
Yeah, I know that.
Oh my God. living it. So you mentioned you have a bike on a trainer. Are you a big fan of trainer? What's the longest you've ever been on a trainer door?
I'll do 2 hours, 2.5 hours. But I watch, this is in the winter, I catch up on TV and I binge shows. So is that
specific training or just ride?
No, I do. So I think I got to go back to Zwift because everybody's swearing on it. I did, because I never did social Zwift. In fact, one of my friends, Taya, had said, "Oh, that's like how you find a boyfriend. You can find love on Zwift." And I'm going, okay. Because there's a lot of people coupling up on Zwift.
Good advice. You couple up with your avatar first and then you meet in real life.
Yeah, like allegedly. I don't know. I said, well, I don't know if I could do that, but it's more social. I never did it that way. I just do the workouts.
Right. So that's Thea is 100% right. I'm not sure about the meeting up part, but because I'm married.
And it's more social.
But for sure, Zwift has come a long way.
Yeah.
Okay. And there are like different paces with different wattage. You got group rides, you have workouts, you got all these things at your exposure. To keep things interesting for me, I bike all the routes in Zwift. So I think I've ridden every single route on Zwift that's available.
So I think I did. but I just did the routes. Like I didn't join the group rides.
Right, which is we
Yeah.
could do that, right? If you want to eat a certain pacer, like whether it's Coco or Constance or Jeannie or Jacques, my favorite pacer and Zwift is actually Constance because it's like 4.2 watts per kg. So it's like red. That's my favorite.
I don't think I can do that indoor. That's the thing. The other thing is my watts inside are I just can't push them as well as outside.
Because maybe have you really tried though?
It's hard. I mean, I think I've tried. I don't know. My FTP inside, you'd be ashamed of me. So
but again, you probably because you're not put, which is fantastic. Yeah. So again, you might have low wattage, but because of your weight, you're gonna have maybe like a really high watts per kg.
So yeah, but lightweight, I've only been like 1.9, maybe 2. And I know that like 2, like the Cortado group was putting out, we're going to do a zone 2 ride that's like 2 watts per kilogram. Going, I work hard at 2 watts per kilogram. Maybe that's just me aging.
But no, but you make whatever, because I've been on the rides with you. We're doing high wattage.
I'm smooth,
at the front, and you're still keeping up. So
yeah.
You might be a lot more stronger than what you think you are. Probably haven't tapped in as yet into. And don't believe the trainer sometimes.
But honestly, it's fine. That's the whole thing with me. If I'm not falling down and not breaking bones,
you're keeping up.
It's just joyous. Like it just brings me joy. I love being outside. I love the camaraderie, and I like the thinking that has to go into being a good rider, and then the skills. Yeah,
and the thinking that you touched on earlier before. I mean, if you're not thinking when you're riding, man, you're gonna hear zzz, and you're gonna touch somebody's back wheel.
Yeah.
So I mean, everything when I'm riding, everything is engaged. Like I'm thinking, who is behind me? There's a sprint point. Who is behind? What's coming up? How hard to push? Like all these different things. Make sure I'm gonna hit a pothole. The rotation pace, and there's so much that goes in engaging your mind, and and then if you do solar rides, you can just use the time just to black out and just think about
solar
yourselves.
There's a friend who used to call that master biking. So play on, you can figure that out.
Master biker.
I just like to master bike. I can go on my own and do what I want when I want.
So the new word you talk about master biking. My son was asking something about one of his friend being a gooner. I was like, what does that mean? And he's like, start giggling. I'm like, oh, Lord.
It's not. I know. I taught high school. I didn't know half the
So he said, if you're a gooner, this is the same thing as master biking.
Got it.
I'm like, oh.
Okay.
So again, I'm learning these skibbity stuff now.
I mean, you got it because you got kids.
Yeah. So I got to keep up with them. But cycling for sure. I mean, from thinking to it's great for mental health. I mean, you can't the social aspect of that.
As you age, you gotta keep that brain active. So
yeah. And I mean, I still don't believe your age, but that's something else. But
I did a 23andMe, and one of which
do you have Jamaican in you?
No, but most of my friends who were from Eastern Europe, like, was 99% Eastern European Jew. I was 98 with 1% Asian. Or maybe it was less than 1% Asian. I forgot what the other was. And my dad so we always thought my dad had very Asian looking eyes. So we thought that was interesting. But it said that I have the gene that makes endurance muscles of an elite endurance athlete.
I might explain it.
So I've been because that is what I am. I'm endurance. I don't know if I'm elite, but I'm certainly endurance.
Based on Chicago standard, you're elite.
Yeah,
all the people who stalk you on Facebook what said I read with Ruth, and they're like, Ruth, man, she's like super strong. She's like da, 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 da. I'm like, wow. So again, it goes to show that it's not who you know, but who knows you. Because people are watching, and we don't think that we're motivating other people and people looking up to us, but it is happening. So we have to be very careful about what we do out there when we're in the public and all the different things.
100%.
And just don't, as I always say, don't be a twat waffle. Because it can be bad. Just for your group, for yourself. So, and I'm happy that again, guys, Ruth is in the network. We're learning about her. I learned so many things about Ruth that I didn't know about. So here she is. So any plans for this year? Big rides, little rides?
So a lot of family stuff. No, and the biggest ride will be that Lynn ride again. I'm looking forward to that. I have a wedding so now, like, when I have a wedding or a family thing in Idaho, I'm going for a week and bringing my bike, and I'll just find some cool. That's what I love about Strava. You can just go on and get some routes and download them and have fun.
Every time I go camping, I take my bike, I take my wife's bike. To the point where I think I'm gonna leave a bike at my in-laws' house when we're gonna travel. take my bike. So I have it because they have more space to take things around. I got the kids, so I have to think about.
They take up space.
They take up a lot of space. Five kids. So 4 that lives with me. One that want to start college.
I knew he was older. Yeah.
I got a college
You're
going
too
kid.
young for that.
I'll be old.
Yeah.
I am old.
You can hang with me.
Sometimes I'm upstairs and the kids are down here like, hey, the old man is upstairs. Go get him. I'm like, man. But it's a title of endearment, like to hear my kids call me the old man is like, man. Seemed like a couple years ago I was this little kid running around eating my booger, and here I am being called the old man.
My
kids. And
my grandkids like to make fun and pretend I'm like this. I'm an old. They call me safta. I'm an old safta, and they walk like that. I said, "Do I walk like that?" And they just think that's so funny.
Yeah, and I told you, I think I learned the word safta from that movie that was on Netflix with the Jewish girl, and she was in a family and she ran away and
unorthodox maybe
something like that's what it's called. And I'm like, oh, safta. The guy kept. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool.
It's Hebrew for. It was so funny when my grandkids moved to Israel. The little one goes, "Did you know that safta means grandma in Hebrew?" Yeah, that's why you call me safta. I knew that. Like he was just amazed. Like, wow, I call her safta, and that's what it means. Was that a fluke?
So she just this big great
epiphany.
No idea. This great epiphany, right? It's like, aha, that's
I'm learning this language.
That's so funny. So I know most of your rides, I noticed you're actually on the north side. Do you ever go south side to ride?
No.
You go back to Pill Hill?
I need a guide when you're riding up
Steve.
there. I know that who goes. Mark Winston too goes all over. I need to, now that I'm literally never home. That's everybody's, because when I go to Israel, I'm there for a month. Next time I'm going for almost 6 weeks for my grandson's bar mitzvah. That's not till October. I'm going to do that Olin ride, and I'll do rides out there. So yeah, and I'm in and out of town.
Yeah, we need to. I mean, I'm trying to do some more rides with like Major Taylor, Misfits. But I'm just waiting for the weather to warm. It's too cold in the morning.
Only for you. It's nice now. 50 degrees in the morning is nice here.
Yes. But I got to the point where I'm like, you know what? I'm just not going to do it anymore.
You're okay on the trainer.
I can just see my trainer right there. I jump on it.
So I have a kicker also, the Wahoo. And I used the Wahoo site when I decided I had gone through all the workouts and courses on Zwift. I said, I'll try Wahoo. And I kind of stuck in Wahoo, but I've done all of those, so now maybe it's time to go back to Zwift.
Zwift have a lot of routes.
They have way more than when I left, it seems.
There's like over 200 routes. I mean, if you're looking like Watopia in France, in Paris, New York, in Mercury. There's a lot.
Well, the New York ones are kind of weirdo.
And then London, no, kind of weirdo.
If you're riding in this futuristic, like, let's do Central Park. Wait,
but you're above the ground, and then you're looking like, wait a minute, the road is transparent.
I'm riding, but they do cute. The April Fools, I remember we all used to be on tricycles. That's kind of funny.
No, Zwift have come. It's just come a long way. So the longest ride I've done on Zwift was when I did the London PRL.
And how much?
Which is like 109 miles. And about 8,000 feet of climbing. So it took
my God.
It took me like 6 hours and 9 minutes.
That's okay.
Yeah, but I really wasn't pushing, but I was just holding like maybe like 210 or something.
I don't think I could sit inside, but even watching movies, because I actually don't. That's the other thing. If I'm going to do social Zwift, I can't watch all my shows. I'd have to actually engage.
Right. Because if not, you get dropped. You have to keep on pedaling.
Yeah.
So
I keep on pedaling. I just am not about. The workouts give you goals, and you have to hit them. And I can hit them and watch my show. I think I might have to change that philosophy. Yeah, that's how I catch up on TV. Not that it's a necessary thing to catch up on.
True. I just watch TV because it's a time for me to just sit back, relax, and then every now and then we have like a movie night with the kids. And
I do it with the grandkids.
Sit around and they just come on, just like put the sofas out, and we just all stay there and get up in the morning, and then they're like, okay.
I love that.
No, we are a very social family. My wife, she's a perfect mom. Trust me, she knows. We do like a lot of things in the evenings, weekends, always doing stuff.
That's the way it should be.
And then they always, my work, I keep on saying, oh, you guys should take vacation. I'm like, my life is a vacation. What I do research as a scientist is my vacation. So,
and you get to ride.
When I get to ride, I get to do my stuff, whether it's evening or morning, and I come back and my kids are just, everybody's taken care of. And the one that I was talking to some friends at I was at the Chicago Bears Gala a couple in the weekend, talking about when the guy I work with, I'm like, one will I have is I don't work from home. When I'm home,
I like that.
home.
I had friends at school. So I was always working 2 jobs. I worked at Niles West High School. And then for like my first year of teaching, I was teaching advanced placement AP Bio. And the Jewish Orthodox school lost their teacher in January and asked if I could fill in. And I did that for 18 years. So I would teach full time in one school, jump in my car, run over to the other school, half the time bringing lab stuff because they didn't always have it. It was crazy. So I didn't finish my day. I'd start like at 7 in the morning and finish at 6 at night and then have to go home and grade. So there was no place to, but a lot of my friends would set that rule of all the grading, everything. Because if you finish your teaching job at 3:30 and you don't leave till 5, then you can get your grading done and be focused. But
yeah, no, I
didn't have that luxury.
Yeah, I'm just happy that my career kind of worked out like that. Because I mean, I used to had to work from home and do all the crazy stuff. But I'm like, once I become more senior, I'm like, you know what? I've had many colleagues of mine, mentors who became colleagues, and I saw it affected relationship with their kids, wife, and all these different things. I'm like, you know what? Yeah. I'm not making the same mistake again. So when I come home, if it's really important, we can have a phone call. Or some even have to be home with the kids. I'll take on a Zoom call. Other than that, you'll never see me on my laptop writing a paper or doing stuff. And when I'm home, I am with my family. When I'm at work, I'm at work. And
that pulls them off screens too, which is good.
Exactly. I would try to engage them. Hey, kids, we go to Indian Boundary. We live like right next to Indian Boundary.
It's a great park.
So we go there, like we literally live there. So in the summertime, we live there. Or we go to Learning Park, which is like
also a great park.
Exactly. We know all.
I know this area.
Yeah, we walk. Sometimes we walk from here, go to Tui, go down McCormick bike path to Devon, and come back home. It's like 3.5 miles. We just walk with the kids.
Nice. That's good.
That's how we. You know, and you met my wife. You met Nicole. Mm-hmm. She's a cyclist. She's awesome. All the good stuff. So, it's good stuff. So, really happy that you're here. Anything else? So let me, before we close, I want to so what's one of your favorite places you have actually ridden in Chicago, like in the area? What's the route that you really enjoy?
I think I like when we go out to Barrington. I guess I like hills more than I used to say. I would joke, I would call a speed bump a mountain. I didn't want to go up it. But I've learned to really embrace them more. And I like the challenge of it. I mean, when I ride in Jerusalem, the problem is you're either going up or going down. So I noticed almost everybody on their recovery days are riding inside because you can't always do that. But see, I don't get that. I just ride every day when I'm not dealing with the grandkids. But your legs get tired of going up and down all the time. So out here, I like it's so beautiful.
Yeah, I think
the roads are open.
Yeah, one of my favorite courses I've ever written was that one time when what's his name again? Jeff Greco made this route. I'm like,
when we did Indian Hills, that whole area, Volo. But I don't love the Volo route as much. When we do the Barrington, that's more. And then Drew has taken me to a lake in the hills. I think it's a little further. We've done some crazy adventures.
But have you gone on south to go to Grays Lake or Wolf Lake, whatever that's down south?
So I did a triathlon there a million years ago at Wolf Lake, which you should never swim in. It turns out it's filled with disgusting chemicals. That's the only time but I never rode my bike. I rode my bike in the area on a triathlon.
Yeah, but you can take the bike path straight down there and loop and come back up.
Like I said, I think Mark Winston takes groups, but I'll have to.
I didn't know that. I need to talk to Mark.
He goes to Indiana. I know. I don't know if he goes all the way to Wolf.
We can wait for Steve to start Bike Tours. Steve after, because Steve rode all the streets in Chicago.
Right. Yeah. So, all the boulevards.
Yeah, I told him you need to start your Steve Bike Tours.
Yeah,
so we can all go down and show some places.
I have to control my urge and my addiction to miles and learn to just. Seriously, because it's become I have to do this. I have to do that. I'm learning to I'm not in an abusive relationship anymore. I can I can chill out and just have fun. I'm not in trauma, let's say that. So I'm working really hard at, somebody's going to do a fun ride and I might miss a hardcore ride. That's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. That's something I'm definitely doing more of this year because I don't mind going on the hard, fast ride, whether it's Lighthouse or Wednesday night ride or something. But now I'm doing the Monday night ride. It's very chill, easy going. I went to touring yesterday for the first time. Man, there's so many people I've not met in the network.
You've ridden with Plaza. That's chill for you.
No, man, Plaza is some of the most awesome people I've ever ridden with. I'm not even joking.
They're historic.
Yeah.
We're all old.
No, but you guys have just a great vibe, when you show up and you hear like Maury say, "Hey, Omar, it's great to see you," or you see Jerry wave at you and you're there, or have a conversation with Sarah, or Beth. It just feels good that people, we appreciate each other
Yeah.
for biking together.
Yeah.
It's not about because you're fast or slow or whatever, but there's a great appreciation for each other in Plaza. And I like that.
I'm working on trying to keep that going.
I hope you guys never lose that, because Plaza, to me, is like, if everyone like a weekend rider is going to be like very just chill and just for some awesome people and stuff, like Plaza is my to-go ride. I'll be there again when things warm up. It was like this year as yet.
I don't think so. But I've been gone forever, so I'm just back.
I think I've done a Plaza ride. I have.
You might have.
I did a couple weeks ago when we split up.
I was still in Israel.
Yeah, you're still in Israel. We went to Libertyville.
Oh, yeah, that's their fall. Spring and fall, like when they're just ramping up.
I haven't gone up Waukegan as yet because it's been too cold. But
you'll get there. You haven't done the Saturday.
No, I haven't done the Saturdays yet. I've been
finally with them this weekend because I was in Vegas last weekend.
In Vegas? What are you doing in Vegas?
I have family there.
Oh,
so I had family. I know everybody goes, "Oh, you went to Vegas."
I thought it was a Zwift date.
I didn't go on yet. That's funny. Nope.
Because there's a bunch of riders in that area, right? A lot of people go that.
There are. When I've ridden in Vegas, I've always gone on my own. I hadn't really found a group, but I never went for long. You got to go for a few weeks and just be out there and find the coffee shop where they get together. Yeah. And so, like, I was still struggling in Israel, and I met this really nice group. And they call themselves the Friday Loopers, because they do these different size loops. But I'm a little, like, maybe stronger than them, but they're so fun and nice, and I like riding with them. And then I met somebody else who lives in the building right next door to my daughter. His name's Yossi, and I just met him at the end of my last visit, and he seemed to ride just like I did, and I took his number. I said, when I come back, because he was doing longer rides, he does more diverse rides, interesting places. So I texted him, and it was the end of Passover. On Passover, you can't have all the same foods that you're having. So I only had water, no electrolytes, and dates. Turns out, by the way, you can take dates. You probably knew this. Take the pit out and put salt in, and then it does a really good job of giving you the sugar and the fat.
A friend of mine, Tony, dear Beckley, dates is all he rides with.
Yeah, so I had dates with pits, but
the fancy ones, like the ones you get, are like amazing.
No, these are. Israel has some good. It's good. So the dates were good, but it wasn't enough. I didn't eat. I don't always eat enough. I was just drinking water. It was like 90-something degrees out. It was boiling. These guys, we hit the first hill, and none of them go into their small ring. They're standing and I was going, I don't think I belong. And this guy Yossi. Later, I find out he's one. You know how you've met people like this who can ride with anybody, is so nice and so welcoming. We ended up doing 70-something miles, and by the end, I'm on this bike path almost at my daughter's apartment. I had to get off the bike. I was so dehydrating. My muscles were shutting down. I was disaster.
Yeah,
so I'm not riding with that group again.
Yeah, I'm not doing no ride where I'm not allowed to take my electrolytes or anything. I
shouldn't. It was a big mistake. I didn't realize it was going to be that hot. I met my daughter and son-in-law at a lunch they were having with friends, and I don't know. And they could see I wasn't right. And they're just like pounding water at me. And I was able to be fine, but I was, when your body's shutting down. Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Yeah, there's actually a cool guy in the network here called Yossi too.
Oh, another Yossi.
He rides with, and if you know, Zucker, he's a cardiologist. Mm. So Yossi always posts about, I think he might be Israel or something like that. I think so. He was right. He
Jewish for sure.
Yeah, he rides with Borak Zucker, and he always call it Doc's Ride or something like that. Mm. So there's always him and a few of the guys that are.
I don't know that. Yeah. Well, this Yossi is like, he just deceived me completely. I'm like, yeah, of course I could ride with you. It'll be great, and it'll be a little better than the ones I'm with, but they're all good. It's all fine, and I know they would let me go again. I'm just not doing it.
Well, I think if you go and you train yourself properly,
nutrients maybe, and these are guys who've ridden the Jerusalem Hills together for over 25 years. When you do it all the time, they knew the descents like they're going down at 45 miles an hour. I don't do that on roads I don't know. And they were, like, unless it had a 12% grade, I don't think they ever went in their small rings. It was just the way they, little bunnies up the hill. And then Yossi would wait for me. And then the rest of them would slow down a little, let me catch up. It was rough.
But again, you're still here.
That's and they said thing. You should come again.
I think you should go again.
Maybe maybe at the end of the season, this was still like just now when I had only come from indoor. I wasn't strong, and it was Passover. I need to like fix some errors. Maybe I'd try again. We'll see. Yeah,
I hope so too. And maybe, because you're always biking up north with the same group of people. So maybe if you go down south, you might actually find some new groups, some new people, some new. So I don't know. I'm just saying.
Maybe.
I'm just saying.
I don't have to go on Zwift, is what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
Okay, you got my point. You might find somebody from Pale Hill that you grew up with. And you just, I remember you. No. Hey,
So I think I was 11 when I moved, so I doubt it.
You never, man. Life is a funny thing. So you never know who you can meet from your past and
That's
stuff.
True.
So
That's
so
true.
you don't. So you never own a tri bike. You do triathlons. You never.
No, I had. So when I started riding with Plaza, I had one of those attachments.
And they were like,
they were really. I didn't understand that whole rule. And then you get, as a female cyclist, all of you female cyclists who are watching this would know, you get mansplained all the time. And it's like, just because you're, Ruth, if you shift and your head is going, I know this stuff. I know how to shift. You're
not the first person who talk about being mansplained. It's like, relax. I know what I'm doing.
I never do that. I just let them keep doing it. Go, that's so helpful. Thank you. And it's because I think it's funnier to do that. And they do mean it helpfully. They did. But like, watch a person before you're telling them how to ride. Like, maybe if you watched me early on when I started with Plaza, I didn't know. I had ridden with one other group and I didn't know a lot. And so my go-to person for that was Kathy. I would always go to her, Kathy Corbett. You'll hopefully have her on here. She used to race, and and also when I was in Israel and they started noticing, they all want me to race. Like, that's because I'm 65 years old. Of course, even I know that much. Of course you want me on your team because I'm old and strong.
Which is not a bad thing.
No. I just have no desire to come. Like, I keep thinking, I always say to my kids, I won't race because then I'll fall. And they go, Mom, you're falling anyway. You've had a lot of accidents. I said, so imagine if I raced, how bad it would be.
Well, maybe you might not fall. Because I talked to some other, female, and they when they said they know who you are and say you're so strong, it's like, man, why you don't race? Like, you would own Chicago.
I know they say that, but I'm good not owning Chicago.
Fair enough.
I'm really good doing it for the joy of it and not the stress of it. And
That's the same thing for me.
It doesn't call me. It doesn't, especially since I did those triathlons. I did that whole getting nervous for a competition and stressful. And there's joy after. I mean, that adrenaline rush is awesome. But I ride for those reasons. I love it, and it's social and physical, and
you get to meet cool people.
That's what I mean, you do that too when you race. I get it, but no, it's okay. This old lady will stay out of the races.
You guys heard it. So please stop asking me why she don't race, because now you guys know. Okay, she said it.
I don't want to.
She don't want to. It's that simple. Okay. Anyway, guys, we have Ruth in, I don't want to butcher your last name, so I wouldn't even try to say it. Gleicher, because I'm Jamaican, so we do some weird pronunciation sometimes. So Ruth Gleicher. She's in the network, guys. Please don't be a stranger if you see her on the road. Most times I'm going to see her with Plaza or Cortado, but I hope I can challenge her to start heading down south, maybe with Mark Winston and different groups. All right. So she said it. So
I don't have to race.
I'm gonna ask her to go maybe some of the Misfit rides, or Major Taylor. We're gonna head down ride. Only thing is we have to ride at least like 30 miles to get to the ride, but I'm not driving down south.
I love that. I'm
riding and do the ride, then I'm gonna come back. So
wait, you're giving me more distance, and you think I'll say no?
I love the spirit.
Miles.
This is what it's all about, guys. This is what it's all about. So Ruth, thank you so much for coming and talking with us. And we've learned a lot today, and keep on inspiring. Again, people are watching. Trust me, you're a huge inspiration to so many people. If it's Cartada or Plaza or Spider Monkey people, Simet, evolution, just to name it. I talk to people and they see us travel because you're in segments.
Yeah.
They see your comms and people watching.
Yeah, those KOMs are disappearing.
I mean, QOMs.
QOMs are disappearing. Yeah. But that's okay.
Because you know you have Elizabeth. So Elizabeth, you're the next person
yeah,
we'll talk to.
I don't even know her, but good
Elizabeth
job.
Dixon, she's a pro.
I love when someone beats me. So that's the difference. I go, I don't have to go out. Good job. I'm getting older. They're going to all go away.
Elizabeth is next level. She's a pro.
She's done a lot. I meant to email her because you get that little email from someone stole your QOM, and she's
message her. She will because she know exactly who you are.
Yeah,
she will. I really appreciate it.
I will.
Okay. I know Elizabeth, and she.
I might have a few still left, but I don't know.
Yeah, and then you got like Simone and some of the these kids coming up.
But it's Elizabeth, I think, who's gotten most of them. Oh, and Daniela. Who's Daniela?
Daniela
Floss, maybe is her name. I think she's done a lot too.
I might know the face, but not the name.
Yeah, I think she's also taken some.
No, Elizabeth. She's
I had a bunch.
She's
beaten by a pro. Good. That's the way it should be.
she wins sprints at WNR. Wins that right? She beats the guys.
Oh man!
So I'm telling you, she's next level.
I love that.
And she rides for Font, right? That's the name of the group that she rides with. She's next level.
Okay, I'll have to listen to. I'll have to.
So if I get a chance, I've been talking to get her to come, but she's been so busy and all sorts of different things. Or I think her boyfriend name is Jacob Wilson. He's on 606. So yeah, okay. You know, I am in all the groups in Chicago, so I have all the jerseys, so I know all the peoples.
Of course you do.
I try to, again, the social aspect. I just love the people.
I know.
So I just go to everybody. As I said, on Strava, I don't race, but I'll help the group to push the pace. That's what I do now. It's awesome.
You race? You're done racing?
Not really.
Not really.
I mean, I've done some running races. I've never done a biking race. I've done biking rides, but no biking race.
So you're like me.
Yeah.
Just don't want to.
That's 5 years. 5 years of biking now.
Yeah. Okay.
It's 5 years.
You're still young. You might race. You might race. Yeah. When you guys.
I'd love to do like race the lake, but again, I can't do it because of family commitment. 90 miles. I want to go on this hammer because
I mean, you go in the first group, it's a little better, but there's a lot of, so because you can go in the first group, there's no qualifier to go in there. So you get a lot of bad riders and they always have accidents. So just be careful. Right. And that's why Beth and I did it for years. And every year there was just a terrible accident that took people down. And after we avoided that accident for maybe 4 or 5 years, I said, why are we doing this? and me and falling, I figured I was I beat the odds and come here.
And you've done Harbor Hilly before, right?
I never did that because I was always doing the AP reading. Yeah. But I'll do it at some point.
Please, because that's one of Cortada's rides, or maybe do that right across Wisconsin or the Bone ride or something.
I think next year if I'm in town, it's just about my very busy travel schedule.
And all those Zwift dates.
You love that.
I'm using like for a long time.
It's funny. It's funny.
See, you caused this. Okay.